the issue of zoning has been brought to the fore after former Vice President Atiku Abubakar described the decision by some opposition figures to insist on zoning the presidency to southern Nigeria ahead of the 2027 elections as self-defeating and intellectually dishonest. Atiku warned that competence and national unity should take precedence over regional considerations. Various political stakeholders have criticized the former vice president's statement, saying that Atiku was denying the very political arrangement that aided his rise to national prominence. Joining us on this show to discuss the role of zoning in party politics and how it determined the flow of events in the party from 1999 to date is Dan Ulasi, a PDP chieftain. He will also review Consensus' new position to back Mr. Peter Obi as a running mate ahead of 2027 and how this may change the course of events. Good morning, Chief Ulasi, and thank you for joining us on the morning show.
Good morning. To you and your group there. Good morning, all of you.
Morning, sir. Well, quickly, your thoughts on the idea of zoning, which, you know, as I was saying, was it yesterday or the other day, it's not even a provision in the Constitution, apart from this idea of a federal character, which I'd argue should have a sunset clause. The emphasis should be on competence. So why is zoning such a big deal when the emphasis should be on competence? Now, Waziri Adamawa Atiku Abubakar also agrees that there should be competence. But people say he's been, you know, he's self-serving. When he says zoning, he's self-defeatist and all of that. Well, when it comes to competence, it will look like if you check all the people looking for position, the presidential position, that Waziri Adamawa would appear on paper to be the least experienced and the least qualified in terms of credentials. So please, can you address these two issues?
Good morning to you and your friends and your colleagues there. I want to make a reference to before the Nigerian Civil War. For almost 5-6 years, Tafawa Balewa was the Prime Minister of this country. And Nnamdi Azikiwe was the first Governor General and later President, non-executive President, so to speak. But at least he gave a sense of belonging to people from different parts of this country, that they have a say. So the idea of zoning is a concept that gives one a sense of belonging. It goes down to local governments. If there are about 3 or 4 communities in one local government, you don't expect that one particular community will continue to produce chairman of that local government. It is not constitutionally wrong, but it is morally wrong to the extent that those other people don't have a sense of belonging, for whatever it means. Because we're in a country where people think that you go into government just to share money. And they see that people go there to make money, steal money, as it were. So everybody has a tendency to want to be there. So let us go and steal our own. Unfortunately, that problem of corruption has become genetic, environmental, that nobody thinks anything else about how to make money. And we have to correct that impression. To answer your question strictly, zoning is not a constitutional matter, but it's a matter of convenience that gives everybody a sense of belonging. But it also means that, or rather shows that every zone has somebody competent. When Atiku Abubakar is talking about competence and this, what has he? He's a degree holder. There are thousands of people who have doctorate degrees all over. There's no local government you come in this country. You don't see interested persons who are very qualified to want to help the affairs of their people. So what we're saying is that let's give every zone, every community a chance to want to be part of the system. That is all.
Okay, I hear you. But let me just ask, you said something quite interesting, that everybody wants to get in there or wants their zone represented so that they're able to get money. Is that the purpose of politics and governance? Is that what politics and governance has been reduced to in Nigeria? All about who will be there to be able to get money? Because that shouldn't be the spirit. I mean, you ended on the spirit, which is on the basis of inclusion and fairness and what is moral. But when you throw up that basis of wanting to that, I mean, I want you to clarify that, because is that where we are politically, where people are voted in or get into office just for what they can get?
Well, when you see a society where people take a vow for unsurpassed devotion to stealing instead of unsurpassed devotion to public work, then you see the problem we have, why people are struggling to want to get there. Because they stay. I was giving you an example of a local government. In a local government where there are 3, 4, 5 towns, and they see Mr. A, Mr. Ulasi, Dr. Abati, A and B, with nothing, not a Volkswagen. They watch you go into a council. After 2 years, you're driving a CVU. You are building a house in your father's compound. These are people in your own environment. This is what is happening. You are doing no other business. And the conclusion is that there is a way of milking out money from the people. So that's exactly what I mean. If people go into governance with reference, have values, my father was this, my mother was this, was his mother keeping the church money, the village women's meeting without appropriating it? There are references that we don't have in this country to be able to look at. The political parties are only platforms. It is the individual who personalizes the political party, who goes in there to deliver the goods the political party appears to be pronouncing. So if we have a wrong individual with a wrong conception, then we are finished. And this is why up to now, in the last exercise I had you people on this platform, I said, 21st century, I challenged only about 4 days ago, and I must admit, they asked me not to mention their name. 4 governors in this country, 3 from the north, 1 from the south, called me to say they listened to my program, and that what I said was true. I said, let one governor take us to his state, to his local government. Let us see where ordinary water is running. I mean, what could be more? It's not rocket science, water. So what I'm saying is that if you have wrong nomenclature, because we're a country that said shift this, that this, that's all that is interesting. You know, if we have people who have no other reference than nomenclature, no values, no love of nation, no love of even their own immediate people, then we have fundamental problem. That is why they are shameless in a society where water is not running. They are free to come to their villages with 2, 3 SUVs and stay in the village. After 3 days, they go away again. Nobody will see them. When the next election comes, they come stealing money.
Chief Ulasi,
please.
Yes, the spirit of zoning, like you mentioned, in the interest of inclusion, sense of belonging, also fairness. But has it worked? Because if you look at development in the north, you know, with this whole agitation, north and south, one would have assumed that when we had presidents or leaders from that region, would have seen a lot more development in that region. Has that been the case? Because what zoning essentially has done is just to enrich the interest of the person involved or a few of their cronies, but not for the benefit of the people. Because if that were fair and we've had it rotationed across south and north, we should have seen a lot more development. So if southerner goes there, we'll see that he's working at least to a very large extent for his people. The northerner comes there, they will see more education, deepening progress in their region. But this hasn't been the case in Nigeria. So has it worked, or is it just to serve the interests of certain people?
Well, we have just developed a new argument. I'm not discussing whether zoning helps to develop. I just mentioned a sense of belonging. People believe that nothing is functioning. People are not working. People just go there to steal money. And I use the word steal, unfortunately, because it's evident in our country that people are not working. There are very few examples you can give of a project that is started and completed. In this country, more than 80% of the projects are abandoned. That is the only country you hear of the word abandoned property. What does abandoned property mean? When the project money is misappropriated and it is not completed, the next budget, they make a new arrangement to put more money. So that you go around this country, you see roads that we started working more than 4 or 5 years ago, they are still uncompleted. So what I'm saying is that zoning gives people, if it means going to steal, let them go and steal. That is their feeling. Unfortunately, very unfortunately, you would have expected that every zone will have very competent people to represent the interests of their people. But you now see that most of the people doing this stealing are PhD holders. Very brilliant people that the society have spent money either with scholarship to train. They come back and they give them opportunity. The first thing they do is drive big cars, build beautiful houses. So nobody has any reference hope about the educated and the uneducated. So that is why the common people, when you go on campaign, they tell you, this is our turn. You remember when the president said it is his turn, as if it's his father's compound. And all of us who were looking, he grabbed the nomination and he's president of Nigeria today. How can, in any normal society, somebody open his mouth to say that something is his turn? A democratic process is your turn. It's your turn only if you win. We don't have a zoning process, a constitutionally laid down zoning process in this country. But it would have been nice if it is. So that we will say that for the first 100 years, Zone A, East Central go, South-South go, Southwest go, Northeast, Northwest, and North Central. So that everybody will have a sense that there is no money. If you go there and spend 4 or 5 years and you don't help your people, they will hold you accountable. Because we don't now have a basis of holding anybody accountable, because it's not in our literature to hold anybody accountable. Everybody goes there to share money. Unfortunately, we don't have water to drink. If they have ability to control the air we breathe, only God knows where we would have been. So that is the explanation I'm trying to give. We have competent people who have conscience. The whole society is not, collapsed completely. There are people in this country that have conscience, but they have not been given the opportunity. And nobody gives you opportunity in politics unless you fight for it. It's only when you're able to fight for it and come up and show what you can do that people say, oh, so this is possible. Somebody else was there for 4 years, didn't do anything. Now somebody else. Look at, I normally give an example. I listen on your program and some other programs where people say somebody was Minister of FCT for 8 years and hardly built a road. Somebody was there for 4 years. And your stations, everybody was there looking at what somebody has done in under 4 years. This is what I call development. This is what I call values. Even if my late father used to have a saying, if you are given 10 kobo and you must steal, please steal 10 kobo. I mean, if you're given 1 naira and you must steal because it's genetically applicable to you, use 80 kobo to work so that people might not know that you stole 20 kobo. But in Nigeria, you give somebody 1 naira, he will steal 50 kobo. When he starts a job and sees that he cannot finish, they distribute the remaining one. That is the problem we have. We pray that a time will come when young men and women will have the values attached to public service. We have a vow to deliver, to help their people. Because most of our people are still very illiterate in the rural environment, and they have no ability to talk. Even when they are annoyed, they have no way to express it. I have this opportunity because you have called me up to speak. How many millions other Nigerians who are suffering do not have the opportunity to want to say, my local government chairman is not working. My councillor we sent 5 years ago, he has built 3 or 4 houses. He's not doing anything. How many of them do you can't hear anybody saying that. We have to have a period of introspection. We have to have values. We have to feel sympathy for our people. This is no more, it's not no more colonization, but what we're having now is worse than what the white people did to us. They did to us and went away. But how are we now dealing with our own people? We don't want them to progress. I mean, it is difficult to want to address the issues of Nigerian problem. There are places it is worse. Like I told you, I visited about 4 states. And 1 or 2 governors took me around what they are doing. Say it is difficult because if people they took over from started doing something, it would have been easier. There are places in the north, when you look at the extent, probably you take 2 or 3 hours to go from the state capital to a local government. Expanse of land. And people are living in patches. And nobody remembers them. And these are human beings, citizens of Nigeria. And yet our people go from France to Dubai to here. That is the excellence of Nigeria. Oh, I'm in London, I'm in Paris, I'm in New York. Shamelessly, we say that. These are people who have worked with the limited resources they had at their time to develop their people. And we can't even give water. I believe that there must be a democratic revolution
so
very soon in this country. We cannot continue this way.
I mean, Mr. Danolasi, thank you so much. You hit the nail on the head. In fact, like I said yesterday, I think maybe you copied the word shame for me, because me too, I said I'm ashamed of myself that we're even talking of zoning in 2025 when the world is talking about AI. We have just celebrating our failure. We have failed as a nation. We keep jostling. And it's not that when these people even get into power, they will change our lives. So we are just in circle foolishly and just moving along stupidly. And that's the kind of life we're living. But in as much as we talk about all of this,
it's unfortunate.
Injustices need to be
It's
fixed.
unfortunate.
Yes, we can talk competence. Can you explain to me why somebody of the Southeast extraction has not been president since we returned to democracy?
You know, I think I'm in a competent position to explain that. You know, coming from the aftermath of the Civil War, the rest of the country never trusted the, let me use the word, the Igbos, because more than 99% the Igbos occupy the Southeast. They believe we are revolutionary, we might have a tendency again to want to, you know, exit from Nigeria. But it's not true. People forget what led to that Civil War. What was the problem? The same problem that led to that Civil War. Look at what is happening in Zamfara. There's a near Civil War going on in Zamfara. Most of the governors in Zamfara, Kebbi, and Borno, they live in Kaduna. Some of them in Lagos, at Apapa. That's where they are ruling their people from. Once money is sent, they go there, pay salaries, and disappear. We have not sat down to fundamentally have a dialogue about the problem of this country. Why is there Boko Haram? Why is there iPod? Why is there this? There are many parts of this country that have one problem. Recently, the Plateau State has been overtaken. So we need to have dialogue, honest dialogue. This is what I expect leadership to do. For as long as we believe that we want to have this country as Nigeria, we have to develop love. We say, if I don't love you, there's no way I will appreciate what you're doing. We don't have love in this country. We are envious if we say he makes a first class, say who is he, because he's not from my place. We have a fundamental revision to do of our characterization, of our disposition in this country, to know that we are people from one family. Somehow God has put us all together. It is for us to reimagine how we make it work. Or else, if we can't make it work, then let us sit down and discuss the alternatives. We cannot continue to say that in 21st century, ordinary water we cannot give to our citizens. I continue to mention the word ordinary water. Because the idea of building roads, and you go around and see the roads abandoned, and you see the people abandoning it. A commissioner is coming, or a governor is coming to where a road is abandoned. He has a 40-vehicle entourage. 40-vehicle entourage. And he will look at it and say, where is the contractor? I said, they haven't paid us. So where is the commissioner for work? That is the end of the news. Because he knows what has been going on. So there has to be a process of re-engineering the concept of values in this country. That is all I'm saying.
Okay, Chief. I asked you two questions earlier on. You addressed one. You ignored the other one. Let me go back to something related.
I'm sorry, I didn't. Can you put me back to that?
Okay. What I want to ask you is this. Now, one of the things that Waziri Adamawa Atiku Abubakar said is that the North has only done 10 years since 1999, and that the South has done 18 years. Well, that's not really correct. But what do you think of that in terms of the larger picture? If you go back to 1960 till now, in terms of North-South politics that we try to play. The second one was that he also said it doesn't make sense for somebody to challenge an incumbent that is from the same region as the challenger. But he challenged President Yaradua in 2007, and it's from the same region as President Yaradua. In 2019, he again challenged President Buhari, who is also from the same region as he himself. And now in 2027, he says no Southerner should challenge a Southerner. If you could respond to those two issues.
Well, I think I must have been misunderstood.
Okay.
We don't have a democratic centralism like they have in Russia. We have political parties in this country. And by implication, every political party is supposed to have its candidate, if they so desire, in all the elections. Therefore, if Tinubu is in APC, and that, like I just hear they have decided to give him a second chance, PDP is free, and about 2 or 3 candidates have already bought their forms. SDP will be free, if they so desire, to run for the presidency and other elections following it thereafter. So what I was saying is that if in a local government, you see that your brother, that is the nearest government to everybody, is performing. Because if he's performing and you call a meeting of your village, they will say, no, he's doing well. He has built this road, he has put water here, he has dug borehole there. So if the president is doing well, I want to see Mr. President, and I like him personally, let him make a broadcast, one broadcast, outlining every promise he made before 2023 and which one he has started and completed. If not, why did he not? This is all I'm saying. You have reason, maybe it's not what you say outside government that you see inside government, but we have a right to want to know the promises you made to us. Why have you not fulfilled them? Because Nigerians are now used genetically to non-performance. They are not interested. Most people now look for ways of making money outside government. Government does not provide water, do not provide food, they don't provide anything. When they can't even pay salaries of teachers, that becomes a problem. So our problems are multifarious, and we cannot abandon it to fate. Like I told you, 2 or 3 governors have called me saying, we are doing this, we are doing this. We appreciate what you have said. And I said, I live in Enugu since 1974. I left the university 1973. I was first state of National Youth Service Corps. Since I finished, I came back, I've lived in Enugu. The present governor has made tremendous change from what he made. Even more exciting is what is happening in Abia. So, and the last time I said, all the 5 states where I reside are going beyond the call of duty to express interest in helping their people in projects. But there are places you see, governor, they are not interested. Tell me what a governor will be doing going from point A to B in his state capital, and there are 40 vehicle entourage. Already, petrol is 1,350. They would have spent about 300,000 or 400,000 naira in fueling all those vehicles just to go for a function. Everybody will follow a governor. These are senses of values and discipline. And if you don't have those senses, you cannot have value to really sympathize with the common people in the villages. That is where our problem is so genetically fundamental that we have to see a way of reversing it. We don't take pride that we can't give water to the ordinary person. You drop your leg. Even some African countries, the water is running there. I continue to mention the water, the item water, because most diseases come from it. See our people in the villages, see where the water they are drinking, you weep. And they have a right to clean water. We don't give it to them.
Absolutely.
That's all I'm saying.
All right. Well, very well said, Chief Danulasi. I don't think a lot of people will disagree with many of the things you said this morning. And I hope, like you said, that challenge will be taken by the ruling party to give an account of stewardship based on the promises made to Nigeria when they were campaigning for office. Thank you very much for your time with us today.